Okay, so I'll have two number 9s, a number 9 large, a number 6 with extra dip, a number 7, two number 45s, one with cheese, and a large soda.
What are you doing?
Oh, Brandon told me to grab a menu.
Game menu?
Okay, then I'll have a Final Fantasy 6, a 10, a 10-2, a 14 on the side.
Music! I said game menu music!
But why didn't you lead with that? Let's talk menus today on the Music Arcade. Hello, everyone, and welcome to a very technical difficulties-filled episode of the Music Arcade.
You forgot to introduce yourself.
And who are you?
I sure did. I'm Galen the Sound Guy Firestone.
I'm Radical.
And I'm Eddie, and what are the technical problems we're having today?
My computer has
the
exploded.
technical problems?
Yep.
Yeah, so I'm recording this on an extremely jank secondary setup that is way more complicated than it has any right to be because I'm a perfectionist. In a room that is not tuned at all and not meant for recording, and on a software that I'm relatively unfamiliar with, but thankfully DAWs all kind of handled the same.
And that's all because the motherboard went kablooey on the
It sure did.
main PC. Yep.
Now, just to be clear, when we said at the end of the last episode that we were starting a new set of 100, that doesn't necessarily include all the early recording mistakes we did.
That wasn't the intention.
So now I'm actually... No. I'm going to be honest, I'm not sure there was many recording mistakes at this point. It just took a while to get it actually functioning in a way that I was happy with.
Signs of inexperience.
That is true. I was able to come up with and execute a solution, so I'm pretty proud of myself for that, to be perfectly honest with you, because this room was never ever meant to have anything like this setup.
You do sound very
We
different
are in
from
fact
usual.
recording.
Hopefully I don't sound too bad. Now, Rana, why don't you talk us through how we ended up talking about menus? Music for menus in particular.
Yeah, I wanted something that worked nicely as a little break because between last episode, which was definitely something special, and a coming set of multiple episodes with a very specific theme, and menu themes in this way work in a meta aspect because a lot of the times they are kind of exactly a break between two phases of gameplay, and it's an interesting space in itself as well because it's something that is obvious when you name it, like, yeah, menu music, you know exactly what I mean by that, but it's not that easy to find interesting threads to speak of. There's not an overabundance of them because the three most represented menu themes are 1. Silence, 2. A calmer version of the currently playing theme, or 3. The actual currently playing theme, just unaltered, which is even more present given the influence of games like your Dark Souls, where going in the menus don't even pause the games.
Okay, I've had this conversation with so many people recently, and I will talk about this later. This was my Chrono Trigger strat. If I just wanted to sit around listening to Corridors of Time for a while, is I would just park myself in Zeal and put on the menu and just walk away.
Yeah. Just
this is not a new thing. Dark Souls didn't influence this.
It does in the genre of 3D action games, I feel, compared to like your Devil May Cry's, which were more the standard, and where the menu there are more of a clear break.
I think the actual like timeline of this is probably pretty worth a the timeline of this is probably pretty worth a bit of a deep dive. I almost feel like there's a back and forth going on here because something I remember very much from when I was a kid. But I agree with you that in a 3D action space, it does change the metrics a little bit. But then again, we also have
with you that it's not the first game that did that. Far from it.
But then we also have a game that we both have discussed a lot recently, and that's Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes, where it did, when you go into the menu, play a calmer version of the field music that was currently playing.
Yeah, exactly.
I think another...
I will have to actually think on that.
I think another interesting phenomenon that I remember from when I was younger was specifically with Konami games. When you pause the game, there was no pause music, but you would always hear the Konami jingle when you open the pause menu.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Interesting.
Was that
or just?
I think it was just like 3 or 4 notes. The jingle.
Yeah, I think the Quintet games did that as well. But yeah, like pause menus are something that isn't necessarily omnipresent, and that's not a bad thing. I'm not going to say like, oh, the old pause menus, we need them. No, great games can 100% do without, and in a lot of ways it's a sign of a solid design that you spend more time in the action and less time in the menus. Great games can do without noticeable menu themes. So when there is a noticeable menu themes, I think that says something interesting, so that's why we're discussing those as well.
Well, we should discuss what the hell this first song is.
Well, that is because, as I wrote in my notes about this preamble and about menu themes being what happens in between phases of gameplay, I remember that there are exceptions to that, which is games in which the menus are kind of at the center stage of the gameplay. And in particular, one genre that I associate with that is gacha games. Even though nominally there are 3D action RPGs and JRPGs and tactical games and visual novels and what have you, a lot of what I'd consider the long-term gameplay of gacha games, the currency scrounging and the daily missions validating, is just navigating menus. And so I think that we would be remiss to discuss about menu themes without discussing at least one gacha game. And in this case, I took Dragalia Lost, which has a very distinct main menu theme, which is in fact a license track.
Yeah, distinct is a word for it.
Yeah. So
go on.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm just going to say this. I have a fairly strong dislike for J-pop and for Asian pop in particular, the certain aesthetics surrounding it.
Yeah.
This song, I put it on the YouTube, and I felt this visceral just shiver up my spine of just, I want to punch this music video in the face.
That bad, huh?
Oh, yeah. No, the first track back with a working-ish computer, and that's what I have been inflicted upon.
Subjected to.
Subjected to, thank you. That's the correct phrasing. Y'all are going to find that my English language centers are not really working great. I am stressed the hell out right now.
Would be a shame if I had a podcast to record.
Right? This song is deeply frustrating to me. It is very annoying.
I'll be honest, I didn't even take notes on this song because I don't like this style of song.
No, really?
Yeah,
wow.
J-pop is not my thing. Like, At most, I enjoy some pop rock songs by one specific singer. Uh, J-pop is not for me. It's overproduced, and I don't like that aesthetic or sound.
Interesting.
I'm going to be
Well,
honest with you. If this were the main music in Dragalia Lost, like what it says on the playlist
yeah,
here,
it's a main menu theme. When you're in game, you have this horizon that looks very rounded with your chibi characters walking around the path around it, and this music is playing as you starting to navigate the menus.
this would make me mute the music. This would make me mute the game.
Yeah, Galen got ahead of me. I was gonna say the same thing. I would mute that game.
Yeah. And
Well,
the greater tragedy here is that tells me I could have put in something like the Arknight's Rainbow Six lobby theme, which I kind of thought didn't count, but now it turns out it would have counted.
oh yeah, no, it would have counted.
We are
I'm
actually
a little
just
sad I
lose, you
didn't think
lose.
of this now.
we are actually gonna go into gacha adjacent territory later in the episode. You guys just didn't realize it.
No, I
can,
did.
I can see where it is. Yeah.
But card games are a beast of their own.
There's
As
more
for
to that
Dragalia
one.
Lost, it was definitely a weird beast as well. It was an original IP, even though it was a Nintendo-published gacha game, ostensibly a top-down action RPG, but with this nice, cute atmosphere, very light-hearted, and that's, I think, one of the reasons why they took this track that's very cheerful in its nature, and that helps set up the atmosphere and the vibe of the game as something rather uncomplicated in opposition to a lot of the darker stories that are oftentimes present in the genre to add a bit of depth. They kind of went the other way and went for this license track. I think it matched the theme pretty well, both for the tone and the colorful nature of the game, and some of the other tracks that were created specifically for the game, and that also had a lighter approach, song bus themes with lyrics as well and the likes.
Based on what you were saying, I can see it fitting a game. I can also see me disliking that game. That's the thing.
Yeah, of course.
I
Clearly, it's not your genre, but it did make sense within the context of the game, is my point.
I'm kind of impressed how that could be so, but I'm inclined to take your word for it.
Well, it's not like you can check anymore. The game shut down in 2022.
You know, I'm just gonna bring this up, and it may get cut from the episode. But did anyone watch the European Parliament testimony about Stop Killing Games?
Not in details, no.
It appeared in my recommendation.
I know it happened, but I haven't watched it proper.
I watched some of the testimony. It was really compelling, and I wish them the best.
Yeah.
You're so okay.
I've followed and positively supported the initiative, signed the petition and everything, if only because Ross Scott made some very solid points, and I've followed him since way before that was a thing. And he's a solid guy, and he's doing good work, even though he clearly hates doing the political aspect of it.
Yep.
I'm reminded of the late 80s during the whole music censorship thing, and it was Dee Snider from Twisted Sister who comes to U.S. Congress in full makeup, and he just lays down the law and just gives this incredible speech, and it felt very similar in that regard.
And here's hoping it will be looked back on the same way.
Agreed.
Yeah, I remember Rob Halford also had a mic drop moment where he said that if Judas Priest were to add backmasking, they would have just asked people to buy more of their albums. And similarly, they have a charismatic British dude for the Stop Getting Games thing with Josh Strathhays.
Yeah.
Good.
Which also does some real solid content, so good stuff.
Sadly, the charisma
Speaking
part
of
is
making
necessary.
good content,
Yeah, let's get back to our content.
let's get back to ours.
Totally not
No,
sponsored by Red Bull.
Ouch.
Well, I
Yeah.
say that because going into the second music video here, the Red Bull was kind of plastered everywhere.
Yep.
They really wanted you to know who was paying for this concert.
Yeah.
Oh,
But to be clear, I only said ouch because I heard my ribs laughing.
Oh, sorry.
ouch.
It's okay.
Here's the thing: it wasn't just like Red Bull sponsoring a concert. It was a concert in an esports event sponsored by Red Bull. So let's get the full context first. We're talking about
Please.
Age of Empires.
Age of Empires 2. Let's start with that.
Yeah. Age of Empires 2. It always had the biggest community out of all Age of Empires games. And so when they started releasing definitive editions, it also became the biggest one by far. And so
It really endured the test of time.
it really did, and still does. And so every year they have a yearly esports event where the main sponsor is Red Bull. And this is how we end with a Red Bull gaming video in one of our playlists. The main esports event is called Red Bull Wololo. If you played Age of Empires, you know the meme of the priest going Wololo. That's where the name comes from.
Also, if you heard that, you are legally Brazilian now.
Yep, that's how it works. I convert people with that.
That's how it works.
Okay. Cool. Well, I guess I'm used to the tropics now, so it's not that bad.
Yeah, so the 2026 edition of the event is called Red Bull Wololo Londinium, and I find that amusing because they use the historical name for London rather than the modern name, just because it's a historical franchise.
Something,
yeah.
Queen of Victoria. Please continue.
Yeah, pretty much.
And I live near Argentotum.
Sadly, I wish I knew the name of this place back during native times, which I do not. But anyway, so Red Bull Wololo always has Age of Empires 2 as the main championship, let's say, and then either Age of Mythology or Age of Empires 4 as a side tournament.
Okay.
This year, Age of Empires 4 was the side tournament. But
I see.
since Age of Empires 2 is the main tournament, apparently they decided that a full orchestra just to play the theme song for an esports event was a valid decision, and I agree with that choice.
Yeah. I agree as well.
Which
I
incidentally,
have some complicated feelings about Red Bull, but if there's one thing I will say, they have been an incredible patron of the arts, even weird arts.
Yeah.
and also I forgot to note, but Red Bull Wololo Londinium was at the Royal Albert Hall, where pretty much the biggest concerts happen when they are in London. So that's why it looks like a very professional
That's
concert.
decadent.
Yeah, that's why the video looks like it's a very professional concert venue, because it is in a very professional concert venue.
No, that's the second most famous concert venue in England, right south of Wembley frickin' Stadium. Like, no, that's actually huge.
They got the means for it, and Age of Empires got the reach. And honestly, the theme feels at home there because it's... The original is kind of simple enough, not overly pretentious, but it has enough sauce that if you add a little bit of a flute hook, it gets enough magnitude without losing itself, and it works very well for that.
Yeah.
My only problem with that theme is that it's just called main menu theme and not something weird like Age of Mythology's main theme being named A Cat Named Mittens.
So
For some
I
reason.
actually do have a complaint.
All right.
And it's not actually on the performance itself. This recording has no booty. I am immensely bothered by this mix having an incredible fall off of the low end. It feels like the mix starts at like 300 hertz, which just is wrong.
I didn't really coin that, but now you mention it, that is something that, I can probably hear it if I listen to it, because, it does have kind of a slant, and I don't have the professional background to put words on that, and I'm glad you do.
Yeah, no, this was hilarious, because it's like, the performance, great. The recording engineer, amateur hour. That said, this performance is actually really good. I like the fact that not only is it a full orchestra, but they brought in non-standard strings. You have the oud, you have the mallet harp, in feature positions too. Like, they're like serious about this. This was a really professional concert.
Yeah, I'm genuinely a big fan of the santur, which is the mallet harp you mentioned. It's an instrument you don't hear very often unless you're into the niche genres that I am, and I really, really adore that sound. Anyone who's into Dead Can Dance has heard the sound at least once.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. No, I'm genuinely impressed with the quality of the performance. I wish the quality of the recording matched it, because I would have loved to have heard more of those details, and unfortunately so much got cut out by the bad recording. It's one of the reasons why I made a point to bring it up, because like I feel like we as listeners have kind of been ripped off a little bit.
Yeah, it is a shame. Maybe they just thought they wouldn't bother because it was mainly an esports event and not a musical event. I don't know. But yeah.
I mean, another thing is that I feel like they are focusing on the showiness of the event and not the nature of the place as a concert hall, because I remember a lot of the other locations they've chosen for the big Age of Empires esports events have been very cool locations, like historic castles with basically a whole Ren fair installed in its premises and around.
Yep.
And
Wololo,
they're not necessarily going for the concert as the centerpiece, which is a shame, especially when you have such a solid orchestra at the helm there.
Yeah. Wololo 2025, just for context, was literally in a Spanish castle, right at the top of the castle keep, and everyone was dressed as villagers from the game. The entire staff.
Love it.
Yeah, that's an experience.
Speaking as someone who has just janked together a professional recording setup in his bedroom, I honestly cannot give Red Bull a pass here. Like, this is something they could have corrected for without affecting the location or the music. Just have an engineer who knows what they're doing. I feel I don't want to say offended, but like, this is something that can't be fixed.
There's a lot of missed potential.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I lament that.
That being said, the theme is a classic, and for good reason. It is catchy.
Oh yeah. Even I know this one, and I don't play Age of Empires. Great.
It's very hummable.
Yep.
It is.
Even on Age of Mythology, there's so the Age of Empires has taunts where you just press you open chat and press a number or a combination of numbers, and it has a voice line. Age of Mythology also has that, and there's a joke one where it's just voices edited to sound extremely high pitched, singing "This is RTS 3" because it was the third RTS game. To the melody of the Age of Empires 2 main theme. Just as a
that's great.
Yeah.
And incidentally, as a side note on Wololo Londinium specifically, they also made a promotional video that I think plays before the event. I didn't actually watch it live, where they also rewrote the lyrics to the Sea Shanty Wellerman, but with new lyrics that mention specifically the event. So they were into music this year apparently. I just missed the mark on the recording setup.
Yeah, that's weird to do so much and decide not to bother with crossing the finish line, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is disappointing for reasons that have nothing to do with this great cast of performers and this great, clearly great event coordinators.
Yeah.
It does make me wonder whether they played more songs or just this one, because I didn't watch again. I didn't watch it live, and the Red Bull Gaming channel on YouTube only has like I think 5 videos, and most of them are like semifinals and the finals. So I don't know if they played more, or if the orchestra was there just for this one song.
I mean, that is an expensive endeavor to have an orchestra there for one song.
Yes, yes, it is.
I believe they play jingles like before and after matches, but I don't know for this one specifically because I haven't watched it. So I cannot say for sure, but I do believe they were a musical presence throughout the event.
Cool.
Rather than one big concert grouped up.
So they're an Oscars band? That's wild.
Kinda, yeah.
Wow, okay.
Again, take it with a grain of salt.
Let's file that for
No.
post-recording research.
Fair.
With that, shall we move from one game that endured the test of time to another?
Why not? So, one of the first songs I thought of right out of the gate was actually not this particular track from Final Fantasy Tactics, but actually the, like, Hire a Soldier one. For whatever reason, I couldn't find it. And I assume YouTube has done some shenaniganry, and my search just wasn't good enough. Final Fantasy Tactics is a game...
Yeah, it does that sometimes.
Yeah. Final Fantasy Tactics is a game...
I can tell you that the full soundtrack is on YouTube, but it's all in Japanese, so good luck finding it. So
I could scroll through every single song until I find it, or I could make my point with the more readily available one.
Yep.
And my point is actually that Tactics as a game did this. Like, a lot of its menus and sequences had their own music.
Yeah.
So this is, while I picked, the save load screen, which is incredible that it's there. It's just this really soothing lullaby type sound. Great song to put you to sleep to.
It works kind of like an airlock that gets you in and out of the tail, which would work thematically better for Final Fantasy Tactics Advance, given this is what's happening in this game. But
not wrong.
Yeah, it's very nice as things are about to happen.
Yeah.
And enter the world and take the sights.
But honestly, my real entry is for Tactics as a whole, as a concept that had several different songs for shops, barracks, menu, unit select.
Yeah.
All of them had
because
music, and all of them were different.
Because preparations can take quite a while, and so you might as well enjoy some good music as you do your 2 hours tutorial, for instance.
And Hitoshi Sakimoto did, in fact, bring the good music, as he is wont to do.
Indeed.
Yeah, the unit selection theme, that one, ironically, not by Sakimoto, that's by Masaharu Iwata, that instantly also came to my mind. I believe it's called Choose Your Combatants in the official soundtrack.
I believe that.
Again, the tracks for a lot of the menu themes seem to be pretty straightforward and to the point, aren't they?
Yeah, because they were saving their A game for the battles, which is another significant portion of your time spent in the game.
True.
And it's good. It's good stuff. It sets the tone really well, while also being, as you said, a breather from said tone. It's really impressive how they managed to weave this.
Because Final Fantasy Tactics tonally can be pretty dark, but not in a way that feels gratuitous. The game gets dark because there's still a lot of good in this world, and this kind of work as a reminder of what you're fighting for, in a way.
Which is actually my favorite kind of story overall. I don't mind things being really dark so long as I know there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Nihilism is where I draw the line.
Indeed.
And I think Tactics, and in part its soundtrack, helped inform that opinion when I was young.
No argument there.
I think it would have been in middle school or early high school when it came out.
I believe it's from 97.
Yeah, I would have been either just graduating middle school or a freshman in high school. So yeah, this was a very formative part of my youth.
I like that this podcast makes me feel young.
You are.
You're welcome.
And now we go from something that may put you to sleep to something that will wake you right up.
Yep, because we've mentioned getting ready for a battle in Final Fantasy Tactics. Well, that theme was more getting ready for the game as a whole. This OPTIC line from Orochi is getting you ready for the battle proper. It's the army preparation screen, the last screen you have before a battle, and it's energetic. It's getting you pumped up, getting you ready, and you're it's kind of the game patting you on the shoulder and telling you, hey, you go have fun, champs. Go murder some mug by the thousand. Don't worry too much about the immersion of the other universe. These historical figures, they're action figures for the purposes of this game, so go and smash them together and have some fun.
Which is funny when you say don't worry about immersion, because OPTIC line is actually probably the first time you'll hear the, Warriors Orochi warble, that, specific synth that's so unique to this sub-franchise that informs so much of its music.
Yeah, because it's still a central part of the game, the game sub-series, and it also needs to assert its musical identity, even though you might enter a track from a stage with a track from a Dynasty Warriors or a stage with a track from Samurai Warriors. Both games which have drastically distinct musical identities. Yep. And it needs to kind of stand in the middle and say, hey, I'm here too. And this is how it does it, in part.
It is
the song is really...
Go on.
You first.
I do think it's a bit interesting where it plays, because usually when we talk, if we are in the mindset of menu music, and something this energetic pops up, it's usually the main menu. You don't usually get this much energy when you are already in the game.
Yeah, it's quite striking. It's why I immediately remembered it, honestly. And I think part of why they afford themselves to do it is that it's the battle prep menu, but you can do most of your battle prep even before that in your character selection and the likes. So a lot of times when you hear this music, you hear the first 5 seconds as you go from, yep, start the fight, loading screen, let's go. Which is, I think, why the hook is so very distinct as well. It's just like, it's all you need to be reminded of the music as a whole. And it works very well to tell you, okay, you want to go into some action, have a little bit of a running stat. Not too try hard, not too intense, just fun and kind of peppy in a way.
Yeah. I adore Warriors Orochi's musical identity. I really do. A lot of my favorite tracks from the whole franchise come from the Orochi sub-series.
Yeah. They could have taken the easy way and have, what if we took a blend of either Chinese and Japanese instruments or the Dynasty Warriors musical identity and the Samurai Warriors musical identity, and just meet in the middle and mix the two in an alternating fashion. That would have worked. I would have had no complaint with that, but they went just a step beyond and made something that is distinct, yet in a position where you can see the other two sides from where you stand, and it just worked really well.
Yeah.
Speaking of seeing things from afar, I just want to say that as we are about to approach the Mirage theme menu version from Assassin's Creed Mirage, I wrote in my notes that this looks like the kind of main screen that's animated with the main character looking at a spectacular vista. And then I went and checked and yeah, this is exactly what it is. So,
Yep.
Good on the theme for communicating exactly what it is.
It's very on the nose.
This is the pause menu rearrangement of the main theme. So it kind of goes back to what Rana said at the start of the episode, where some games have menus where it's just a song that's playing at the time, but it's toned down. This isn't quite that. It's not. You're not gonna hear the main theme in the middle of gameplay, but it pulls the main theme and just rearranges it into a more, I don't know. Toned down is not quite the term.
Toned down version, calm version.
I guess calmer would be the right word. It's a calmer version of the main theme. It's very much still the same melody. It's just it doesn't use the percussion as much, and it isn't as cinematic as the actual main menu theme, which is a bit more bombastic. This one it kind of makes me think a little bit of Lawrence of Arabia sometimes.
I can hear that influence,
which is right.
Yeah, those
it's definitely a quintessential desert setting movie, so
yeah,
it makes perfect sense.
Those scenes of vast dunes and you're just looking at the desert and all that, which makes sense for a game set in Baghdad, the golden age of Baghdad to be precise. Yeah. But yeah, I really enjoyed this song. The soundtrack felt a bit forgettable to me, but this song, the focus on the strings in this version of the song makes it sound really, really interesting to me. Of course, being a goth, I am attracted to it sounding more melancholic than the main version of the main theme, which,
of course,
that's me in a nutshell. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed this one.
Yeah, it's contemplative. It's like, as I said on the opener, it fits well enough that the way it's used can be identified right away. And like Assassin's Creed Studio, they know their finely honed craft. And when it comes to using music that fits, they will find you the music that fits.
This song is, to me at least, extremely film coded. This wants to be scoring so bad.
Yeah, I get that. I think most Ubisoft soundtracks are kind of like that, with the exception the main exception that comes to my mind is like the recent titles where they're just basically publishing indie games again, which they have been doing a few times. But their big franchises like Far Cry, Assassin's Creed, they tend to go for more cinematic stuff.
Yeah,
It's no wonder
even Far Cry
that,
Blood Dragon, which was like the one Far Cry that I played to any actual length, it just sounds like an 80s movie at that point.
Yeah, it's no wonder that Ubisoft is working with both Avatar and Star Wars. They are very cinematic in how they make their games.
Yeah, absolutely. Far Cry is a franchise that I feel like I would actually get into if it A, weren't a shooter, and B, were actually playable on PC without DRM and nonsense.
A first-person shooter on PC? Say it ain't so.
Far Cry is a franchise I've tried to get into multiple times, but there's always something that keeps me away. Usually it's how much I disagree with what the main character is doing, but I can't do anything to stop him.
One thing that's pretty notable about this track, in contrast to a lot of the other themes we're going to discuss in this episode, is that a lot of the menu themes are pretty short-looped. They're like 30 seconds adjacent, and this one goes and snakes around in places in this typical movie cinematic kind of way, and this leads in a longer theme that would be used in this context. So that's interesting too.
Oh yeah, they basically took the entire main theme and just tuned down the more bombastic aspects and added a lot more strings, and it's pretty much the same length, maybe a little bit shorter.
Yeah, it's like you have the whole theme, might as well use it instead of just using a bite-sized version of it. Speaking of bite-sized and making food analogies, that's my transition to the next track.
I can't believe I helped make that transition work.
Thank you.
Yeah, I wish I could be funnier about this. My pick for Overcooked is kind of a protest.
Really?
So I had a song that I really wanted to pick because I've been on a big kick of the composer, and we're actually going to talk about this later, so I don't want to say who it was.
Okay.
And I got the song wrong. I thought X was the menu theme. It turns out the song was not that, and it was a very short loop and not great. And I thought to myself, okay, what's plan B? Mega Man stage themes are an obvious pick. Wait, no, Eddie's going to pick that one, no problem. Shame on me. I really thought you were going for Mega Man Stage Select somewhere in there.
If it serves as any sort of consolation, I did think about those, and I actually looked up a few of them.
I'm so unsurprised. And finally, I just got fed up with all of my plans kind of failing, along with my sanity. And I'm just like, you know what I really want to play? Overcooked. I've always wanted to play that with friends and just never got around to it. That's a game about food. There's literal menus that you have to fulfill. Cool. Menu. Food. Go.
Oh, so that's why it's there. Okay.
Yeah. Sounds about right.
This was that game with my brother, and it was about as funny as you hope it was.
Yeah.
It would be. And somehow I thought it was there because I assumed this was the theme not for a stage. I believe, in retrospect, that it is a stage theme. And that I thought it was the stage selection theme.
I don't know, the stage select theme is more of an overworld type of situation, the way that game is designed, so I kind of feel like that would have gone in the overworld episode.
Yeah, because you are going across another world with your tiny little characters, and I thought it was that. And it would work for that, because you are little weirdo characters jauntily hopping around.
No, you're not jauntily hopping around. You're in an RV.
Isn't it bouncy at least?
I don't remember. You're mostly driving around.
My bad then. Clearly I haven't played it in quite a while. I should do that sometime.
Please let me know if/when you want to, because like I said, I would love to play with you guys. It's just sort of one of those things that I'm just like, if we're going to do food, if we're going to do menus, there's got to be at least one good food pod in there. And by the way, I picked this song before Eddie wrote the intro. So
And hey, this way you get to be yelled at by a French chef.
perfect. I could ask for nothing more.
Oh God.
As for the music itself, honestly, one of the things that's notable, aside from the jaunty little tone, is that I don't think I've ever heard in another track the sound of an acoustic guitar string being rubbed as you're rapidly changing notes, being used so deliberately. Like they're basically DJ scratching with those.
Yeah, it's a really interesting musical flair.
Yeah.
This is a cute song. I'm not sure I would call it underrated, but it's definitely good. I'm not really willing to go to bat for it, but I'm also like...
Yeah, like it didn't stay in my memory for that long after I stopped playing, but it immediately reignited the moment I heard the first notes again. And that's nice.
Yeah, it's nice. It's comfortable. It's cozy.
It's the kind of music you're always happy to have around.
It's cozy for a game, since it's cozy for a game where one of us is absolutely going to pick up and throw the other one into the middle of the street instead of, a tomato or something.
Absolutely. Especially since I believe that's the part before the last minute where the orders are really piled up and you're about to mess up 5 different dishes in 5 different ways. Because some information didn't go through as it should have.
I kind of wish there was a panic theme. I feel like that would have been a good one to have.
The more I hear about this game, the more it makes it sound like the entire game would be panic for me.
Eddie, I'm just going to say this. It's a cooperative cooking game with a timer that's made by the same team that did Worms.
Yep. It's sounding very chaotic and panicky.
Yes.
It's very fun.
It is. I've watched a shocking number of Let's Plays of this, and I've always wanted to play it myself. And in my current frayed mental state, my thought process was, I would like to, so I'm going to... This isn't even me hinting at it. It was literally like, menu. Why am I seeing the frickin' the Onion King in my head? Like, fine. I will let the intrusive thoughts win this time around. I usually don't.
We'll keep in touch for that.
I'm down.
Excellent.
And now we get to talk about the thing that went wrong, because that's actually part of my transition. Man,
really now?
Fighting game character select screens. Pretty cool, right? It'd be a shame if I totally mixed up a song that I thought was a fighting game character select screen and not the actual fighting game character select screen, which is like a 5-second loop that gets really repetitive really quickly and gives me nothing to talk about or something.
Exactly. And that's why there isn't this character select screen from Castlevania Judgment, and instead another much more memorable theme.
Oh! I thought this was the character select screen. So,
Nope. The character select screen from Castlevania Judgment is pretty short. It's very gothic in its constitution. It's very grandiose, but in this dramatic way. This is the theme from the cosmetic accessories you unlock in castle mode that you can then equip your character for no effect at all.
Yeah, for the record,
that's incredible.
That's the name, accessories.
Yeah, the character selection theme is called Character Select. The soundtrack is very creative.
Like we said, with a lot of those menu themes.
Yeah. I really wanted to get some Killer Instinct representation here. But that character select screen is just, it's not good. Mick actually dropped the ball on that one.
It's a nice take on the original, but it doesn't go that much further.
No.
But there's a lot of great fighting game character screen and character select screen, and I think I feel they're kind of in a league of their own, which is why I went with something like OPTIC Line for something that's adjacent, and Castlevania Judgment for a bit of a swerve, because, well, first, I like it a lot and it's a very good music. It's very fanciful. It's decadent. It's luxurious.
Decadent's a really good word for it.
Yeah, and the fact that it's used in the Wii Castlevania fighting games menu for adding little visual trinkets around your character, for which you need to play another challenge gauntlet weirdo mode first to unlock them in the first place.
Fun.
It feels like it reinforces its own image by its lack of necessity. The theme had no reason to go that hard, other than it is the kind of theme that, in its self-aggrandizing self-importance, needs to go absolutely extra for the most little and irrelevant of reasons.
I honestly wish Castlevania Judgment was a better game, because it sounds like it had some really great ideas under its rather annoying gameplay.
Yeah, it certainly tried to do stuff.
Yeah,
and
it's a game that I personally have never had any interest in. Both in terms of gameplay, I haven't heard good things. Haven't heard good things about the story. And when I look at the art, I just look at Alucard with his cloak that looks like a sofa, and I'm going, look at what they did to my boy. But the soundtrack is really good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's especially since it released around the same time as Order of Ecclesia, to the point that I believe Shanoa released first in Castlevania Judgment and a little bit later in her own game.
Yep. And she looks like a nun for some reason.
Yeah.
I still have a sneaky respect for Judgment for throwing stuff at the wall and hoping it sticks. Like, I respect things that try even if they don't land.
I believe
they
the
went
designer...
all of the weirder ways, both when it comes to the conventions of fighting games and the conventions of Castlevania. And for the music, they went, hey, what if we took the greatest hit and make them sound really good?
Yep.
Yeah.
And that added some original tracks of their own. And I looked at the VGMDB page of the composer. Even beyond that, I looked at the composer for this track, which is Yasushi Asda. And even then, it's a wild ride. This track was composed between sound assistants for Yakuza 2 and 3. There's some Monkey Ball Banana Blitz in there as a composer. He was sound designer for Tales of Abyss, of the Abyss.
Okay.
He
this guy's
also did some
career.
guitar for... Yeah! It's wild. It goes weird places without staying within one developer. It's... or one publisher or anything. There's even some Nintendo work on Smash. It's a wild ride here too. If that kind of wildness nets us some tracks like this decadent display of fanciful strings, more of that, please.
Yeah.
Although, isn't modern decadence not best expressed by children's card games?
Isn't everything better expressed through children's card games? According to Yu-Gi-Oh, that's how you do things.
Hey, a new Magic Chat released on Arena today, so I approve this message.
Back in the 1990s, I was the Star Wars customizable card game California State Champion.
Congrats.
New law just dropped. Good job.
I basically never admitted this publicly before. I look back at this time of my life kind of embarrassed, but I have been down the card game rabbit hole as a kid.
Card games are fun, man.
They are. They're just expensive.
Yes. So when I mentioned earlier that we would be going to a gacha adjacent territory, this is it. But it goes beyond the fact that it's a card game, because we're talking specifically about Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links, which actually has more gacha adjacent mechanics. You actually have to unlock characters and unlock their skills, and you have multiple different currencies that you use for multiple different things. And it has events.
Remind me, is this the one where you can be pretty early on Seto Kaiba shouting at a 6-year-old, "You are a 3rd grade duelist with a 4th grade deck"?
Yep.
Excellent.
Amazing.
I think he's the 2nd or 3rd character you unlock, in fact.
That matches my memories then.
Yeah.
I briefly touched it and then decided, Yu-Gi-Oh's fine, I'm just not really gelling with it.
It's a game that I occasionally go back to, mostly because it's the only Yu-Gi-Oh game where I can still play nostalgic decks and have fun. Because if you
it also helps that it seems to have some very strong music.
It does. It's like it was made for mobile. Yeah, it was made for mobile first, and then it got a Steam release later on. So it's very much mobile centric. And much like Arknights, it didn't need to go this hard with the music, but it goes this hard with the music. For today's
At first, I wanted to describe that theme as kind of a fighting game character select theme, funnily enough. But looking back at it, it feels almost more like a wrestler's entrance. It's got the big walk puffing out your chest with making your shoulders look as broad as they can kind of vibe to it.
Yeah, so the music in question is the main theme for at least the second version of the first main theme for the Tag Duel Tournament event. Which
that's why it's named Tag Main Menu Theme 1 version 2. Again with the names.
That's how the user named it. I don't know if it has an official name. Konami, being the geniuses that they are, they never released the soundtrack to this game, as far as I'm aware. It is not even listed as a product on VGMDB.
Also, Konami being as transparent a company as ever, right?
Yeah, that
sounds about right.
Sucks to be a fan of some of their franchises.
Yeah.
Indeed.
But yeah, so for some reason, this entire event actually is themed after... it's not necessarily directly themed after wrestling, but the iconography looks very wrestling-like. Like, if you look at the event logo, the logos for the different kinds of duels where you choose your opponents.
Big arena vibes.
Kind of. It's not so much arena.
Modern arena, not Roman arena.
Yeah, not so much arena, but it does have that sort of metal flooring look. That some.
I see. So more like a Dead or Alive tournament then.
Yeah, I suppose you could say that. But yeah, I don't know why this is the one event that goes this hard in the guitars and the whole wrestling aesthetic. I think it's just
all
because
the more surprising because that's a very good song for that.
Yeah, I'm guessing they did that just because it's a tag match. You are playing with an AI ally against 2 AI opponents.
Oh, that's
so maybe that's why they went for the wrestling thing, because there are tag matches in wrestling. But yeah, it's like I said, it's not a game that I play very often. It's a game that I come back to sometimes. And when I am surprised by Tag Duel Tournament being up, I am instantly very happy because I love the music.
I really like this guitar line, but there's also the synth harmony that really kind of lines up really well. It's weird that this wasn't closer to Warriors Orochi on the playlist, because I feel like this is kind of in that same general vibe.
Yeah, no, I can see
that. Yeah.
It's getting you pumped up for the fight.
Yeah. And I think that's... yeah.
Which, again, we're talking about fights with a children's card game, because Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, everything in Yu-Gi-Oh, everything gets resolved with a children's card game match.
Yep.
Which is the most important thing in the world, of course.
Actually, I need to correct myself. It's a children's card game duel, because otherwise it wouldn't be serious enough. It has to be called a duel.
Exactly. Even though there are 4 players involved, so it's a double duel.
Yeah, basically. But yeah, I don't really have too much to say about the song beyond it's cool as hell and it has no reason to exist. But I'm happy it does.
That's kind of the hallmark of great tracks. They're great.
Yeah, and sometimes there's nothing to say.
Like, to say on it.
I don't really have much to say. It's got a cool guitar line and cool synth harmonies. Like, what am I? Am I adding to the discussion by admitting what's kind of obvious? It's not really doing anything wild compositionally. It just does what it tries to do really well.
I'll just leave with a note that the actual match song, the actual duel theme for the tag tournament, goes even harder on the guitars.
Wonderful.
Now I really wish my Killer Instinct pick worked, because I'm like, I would love there could be a guitar block in here as well. Cry.
I mean, to be fair, Sonic as a franchise has some tracks with a lot of guitar as well, even though this track doesn't.
No. So I'm going to tell a little story about how we came to this one.
By all means.
This was my last pick, and this was after I picked Overcooked as my, like, semi-protest, but that still meant I needed a third pick.
Yeah.
So literally, I am, like, at my 2D14, my D&D group last night, which is a D&D online game set in the Final Fantasy XIV setting. My character got to yell at Raubon last night. I'm very proud of that.
Excellent.
I literally asked them, hey, I'm kind of stuck for options here since most of my picks are either spoken for or I can't make them work. Do you guys have any ideas? And one of them threw me this song.
And I love it when you call upon the council and they deliver.
Yeah. And they, and it turns out this is the Game Select menu music from
I figured.
a collection, which is actually super cool. The song itself is a real vibe.
That track is very, very fluffy like that.
It is very fluffy. I really like the, like, whimsical bleeps and bloops. It actually kind of reminded me a lot of Astrobot, which I remember we talked about at length during one of the award show episodes.
Exactly. And that works very well with with a collection of retro games.
Yeah.
The specific blips and bloops used also reminded me of that one Mario Paint theme that they also use in Mario Maker's menu, in particular when you load a stage.
Right? Yeah, no, that's 100% correct.
Yeah.
Even though that theme has more of a weirdo tinkering vibe, this is the weirdo tinkerer that's on their break.
Suddenly, I'm just imagining Robotnik sitting on the couch with a cup of coffee.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Good for him. Yeah, I specifically, like, I don't know why my mental image was this specifically, but my specific notes about what this sounds like in that I noted, actually wrote down, was that it sounds like a family-friendly anime All Is Well theme. I don't know why it was this specific, but it was.
Interesting.
It reminded me a little bit of the more peaceful themes of Mega Man Battle Network in that regard as well, because it sounds like like more peaceful times in a family-friendly anime. So the sad thing about the comparison that I just made about Mega Man Battle Network and anime and all that is that means this falls into the style of song that I don't enjoy very much.
Oh.
So this is not for me. This is not a bad song, but this is not for me.
Again, I admit that I came into this episode underprepared compared to what I usually do. Circumstances made working on much of anything rather difficult. But for what this song...
honestly, there's been some entertaining picks.
Yeah, for what this song is, I think it works really well. I
Yeah.
I wouldn't go as far as Eddie. It's not my favorite thing of all time, but I get why people like it, and it certainly wouldn't offend me like the Dragalia Lost pick. I wouldn't mute this, let me put it that way.
Well, yeah. I like them both.
Good.
I wouldn't go as far as to mute it or anything. It's not. It doesn't annoy me. It's just not what I would go after. Let's put it that way.
Sonic usually has some really great music. I've noticed that as a franchise. I think I actually prefer Sonic music as a franchise over Mario, which seems borderline blasphemous, I know, but that's the truth.
No, not at all. Mario has a lot of wonderful tracks, but they also have no musical cohesion between the game, and Sonic goes into weird places as well, but has some very involved compositions and very involved musical identities that they went through in cohesive phases.
Honestly, Marble Zone from Sonic 1 still remains probably a top 50 all-time track.
Yeah, if I recall correctly, there was even an interview with Shigeru Miyamoto a few years ago where he straight up mentions that in their eyes, Mario and the cast are actors, and each new game is basically a new thing they're acting in. So the identity varies a lot from one project to the next.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I've never been...
And you know what other character also has multiple iterations?
Why do I keep helping with the transitions?
Because you're a good sport?
Because you're incredibly talented. James Bond. Namely, GoldenEye for the Nintendo 64.
I'm so angry you picked this on so many levels.
It was one of the first I selected. It was a snap pick.
Absolutely.
And yeah, you're in a firefight and suddenly you need to do something. You're looking down at your watch. The world pauses. Things slow down. And so does the music. Except it's not quite the same music, is it? It's something that takes the emotional effect of a current music being moved to a slowed down version, except it also leverages the musical identity of James Bond that's immediately recognizable. There's notes of a main theme that are in most, if not every track, and that you recognize right away, even if you only know them from the movies. And so having the watch theme call back to that means that while being its own original composition, it also works as a bridge, a toned down version of every single track for different reasons. It's kind of a unique nexus that very few games can pull off, and this one absolutely did. It's memorable, but also discreet. It's probably one of the most memorable menu or pause music that I can think of.
Yeah, and it makes me angry that I'm like, why didn't I pick Perfect Dark's version of the same thing? I didn't even see this on there at the time.
Yeah.
And then the other thing, once again, we're back to Rare. I wish my Killer Instinct pick worked. So yeah. I'm doubly angry at you right now for this perfect pick, and I didn't think of it at all.
Perfect pick. I get it.
Oh, God. That wasn't on purpose.
I know. That's what makes it funny.
Oh, God. I played this so much as a kid.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah.
Both in single player, trying to actually do the higher difficulties with those crippling time limits, and some multiplayer mayhem. Not even just the straightforward shooting, but also weird modes like, well, not even intended modes, just I had a magazine that listed some alternate ways to play, and And two I whipped up with some of my friends the most were hiding the mine and trying to find it.
Okay.
Whether it's a proximity mine, and in this case, you're just trying to shoot it before you accidentally trip it, or just remotely detonated and you're timing it, or 3v1, but the one has a very high health handicap and plays as Jaws specifically.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
I didn't even own the game. I didn't have an N64, and I know the memes about Jaws.
Oddjob is the really hard one to hit.
Yeah, exactly, because he's smaller than where the pistol auto aims. So we didn't even use that in my friend group. So that's why I still have fond memories of them. Who said that? No, but yeah. This is a game that goes so much beyond being a good video game adaptation of a movie franchise.
Absolutely. It is a legitimately genre-defying moment, especially for console first-person shooters. This was Halo before Halo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
And the musical identity is part of that. It nails James Bond in a way that I don't think modern games have. I really hope IOI manages to pull this off, because this is a high bar.
Indeed, it plays off the James Bond's musical identity without making it sound like a copy. And honestly, I'm really curious because I haven't played Perfect Dark. And so I'm kind of curious about how much the menu theme would hit, given that it doesn't have the build-up of a movie franchise that has been established since the 70s.
I'm going to be honest with you, they nailed it.
Crazy.
Yeah. No, I have so much respect for Perfect Dark soundtrack, because it feels like... One, it feels like an actual sequel to GoldenEye, which is impossible given it's a completely different character and setting. But two, it nails the feel of something that's supposedly been around a while, then they just ruined it with Perfect Dark Zero on the Xbox 360. Oh, someone give IOI that franchise,
and made an
please.
instant classic. That would be nice.
I'm still so disappointed that the new Perfect Dark got canceled. I really want them to revisit this franchise. It has so much potential.
Yeah. Let's let them do the best Bond content since the end of the Craig series. Then they'll hopefully get something else to save and magnify and reinvent.
Yeah.
One bit at a time, you know.
I'm looking forward to First
And
Light.
speaking of time, I believe that's all the time for main entries. So, how about we move on to what we've been playing recently?
What's the next item on this menu, you could say?
Music Arcade,
I could say
now
that.
playing.
You're on fire today, Eddie.
That one was the only one that was on purpose. I'm going last.
I got nothing. I've been playing FF14. I've been playing Arknights. I don't have examples of any of those right now. I only just got back to playing video games a couple of days ago, and I had to rent a computer to do it. My situation is extremely gamer unfriendly at the moment.
Yeah, I feel you. Until yesterday, I was pretty much in the same boat with some FF14 and Tomodachi Life, which isn't really that musically notable.
Mm-hmm.
And then today, there just happened to be a 1-2 punch of Michiru Yamane video release that announces she's doing a couple of visits in Europe. And now I'll likely go to a concert with her, Amy Evans, Shoji Meguro, and more in Milan. And also, Vampire Crawlers released today earlier, so clearly the average Italian countryside wants me badly.
Oh yeah, I didn't even make that connection. Yeah, absolutely. You are the universe has spoken. Go to Italy.
Italy is calling.
See,
I got it.
Yep.
But that's pretty much it for my own playing.
Yeah, there's low pickings on my end as well for stuff I've been playing because I've basically been playing stuff that I already talked about. So instead, I'm gonna make it more of a music arcade news, I guess. Because I did actually
Okay.
check some music from recent releases or upcoming releases that I think is worth bringing up. So,
Sure thing.
first up, Esoteric Cab. This is a game that was on my list of games I was looking forward to at the start of 2026.
I should get around to playing that.
Yeah, so for those who don't remember it, Esoteric Cab is the game described as Disco Elysium, but in a D&D setting. And you play as a cleric. I played the
end well.
demo. Yep. I hear it gets political just like Disco Elysium, which was a bit of a surprise to me. So I haven't played this yet, but it is on my wish list. This is a game that I played a demo of a couple years ago. The demo already was interesting, but was only the very beginning. And I figure like the sound is very earthy, very neo-folk-ish. I figured that would be the soundtrack on a whole, and it would just sound nice.
It's very Eddie-shaped.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And then I saw that there's a track featuring a black metal band called Savior. I have
not beating the Eddie-shaped allegations.
It isn't, but I'm curious as to where the hell that song plays.
Yeah, now
because
all
the
of a sudden
game
I'm
only one
flashing back to Chained Echoes, where just out of nowhere it has the death metal turtle race freak out. That's not actually death metal, but you understand my point.
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah, I hear it has some CRPG elements. Like it apparently mostly plays like Disco Elysium, but occasionally there are some combat sections or something. Maybe it plays in one of those, maybe Final Boss. I have no idea. I've never seen a soundtrack do this, like suddenly drop black metal into it. And I'm very curious.
Honestly, I'm glad I don't know either, because that's the kind of game I want to do knowing as little as possible.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm looking to get this game possibly soon. We'll see. So I can see where the hell that plays. So that is a game that came out early in March. There's another game that came out early in March that I was curious about the soundtrack, and that is Marathon, the new take on the franchise. It's not a reboot. From what I understand, it seems like it happens after Marathon Durandal, or before Marathon Infinite. I could be wrong. And from the trailers, I was already curious about the soundtrack because it had this very electronic vibe, but also very ethereal with distorted female vocals in the back. And when I checked the soundtrack, that is basically what it is. It sounds like if Metroid Fusion soundtrack was made in the West, is how I would describe it. It's very mechanical, like very mechanical due to the electronic parts, which you could think of as being representative of the space station from Metroid Fusion.
Right.
But it has that ethereal female vocals that are distorted, which make me think of the SAX. And it also has a feature that caught me by surprise.
For a moment, I was very confused because my mind mixed up Metroid Fusion and Metroid Dread, and I was like, wait, wasn't that Maker's Team, which is actually in the West?
Now I need to listen to that soundtrack. I haven't yet.
It's okay. I enjoyed that game a lot, but the soundtrack's probably the weakest part, I'll be honest.
That's a shame. But
Indeed.
what isn't a shame is this is another soundtrack with a feature that surprised me. Poppy appears in one of the songs. I didn't expect that. This is Bungie, but when Bungie had Paul McCartney in the original Destiny soundtrack, that sounded like it was forced by Activision. This time, they aren't under Activision. They are under Sony, and Sony doesn't really do this. So, Poppy being here surprises me.
Yeah, because
I wish I
as
could be
much
surprised,
as Paul
but-
McCartney is the kind of name you'd want just to be able to put it in front of your soundtrack, when it comes to being tied to Sony, they have their own perspective on record labels for obvious reasons.
Yep.
I mean, no, I feel like this is on brand for Bungie. Because, like, I remember us discussing way back in the day, I ran out to get my CD to see who was in this thing for the Halo 2 soundtrack, and it was Incubus, Nile Rodgers, and Steve Vai. And they, like, I guarantee you, Bungie just, they like throwing money at names for their soundtrack. That's just something they have a habit of doing for decades now.
Fair point.
Honestly, if nothing else, it's pretty impressive that they do that, but primarily to finance new composition instead of licensing tracks.
Yes.
Yeah, this, I should note, on the actual soundtrack credits, both the main composer and Poppy are credited on this song. So it's entirely original.
Yeah.
But
I honestly think that's cool. It doesn't always land.
Yeah.
We just talked about how big of a flop Paul McCartney was, but no, I think that's a very interesting thing they do.
If it's cool when Paul Kel throws money at Master Boot Record to make a lot more Castlevania remixes, it's cool when Bungie does it to a bunch of artists for a lot of their games.
And it's cool when Final Fantasy XIV retroactively threw money at Tom Morello. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, moving through my list real quick. Another game that this one came out this month on April 16th. Mouse PI for Hire, which is
Oh, yeah.
a boomer
I saw
shooter.
it go by.
Yeah, it's a black and white boomer shooter, heavily inspired by early cartoons, like somewhere between what Disney and Fleischer Studios were doing back in the golden age of cartoons.
Okay.
The reason this came up in my daily life, let's say, like I just popped up in front of me, was I got recommended out of nowhere on my personal account, and not the Music Arcade account, a song by Caravan Palace, which is an electro swing group, which they just got hired to do that song for the game. Again,
Yep.
the devs just threw money at an artist and went, make a cool song for us.
Cool.
And even though I'm not that hugely into electro swing, I enjoyed that song, actually. That was a cool one.
Although this feels more like a guest star that makes sense in the more like what Vampire Crawlers did with the main menu theme by Yoko Shimomura for some reason.
Yeah, that's another one that caught me by surprise. And
It caught
a
everyone
lot
by
of the people on
surprise.
the comment sections.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, and a lot of people in the comment sections.
Although I kind of feel like it shouldn't have. Like, it's not like they haven't gotten names before. Again, admittedly, Master Boot Record isn't as big, but also Master Boot Record has and does tour the States. Like, they are a touring act now, so,
Yep.
like, they have an audience.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's more the surprise that they cross borders with Japan specifically, because it's a difficult entryway. Japan is very insular,
Yeah.
so. But yeah, that was very cool. the final
Indeed.
game I have on my list, we alluded to this game before. It's 007 First Light. It's coming
Yeah.
out on May 27th, but the main theme is out. It actually has an opening sequence in the
Yep.
style of the movies.
I
with
couldn't imagine
the-
a world where IOI didn't do that, to be perfectly honest with
Oh,
you.
yeah.
Exactly.
I have a friend who was surprised, and I didn't respond, but I was thinking, how are you surprised that they did it? Clearly,
Right?
you haven't played Hitman.
They have done the work.
Yeah.
And that friend of mine is gonna hear this opinion because he hears the podcast. So, hi,
Yeah.
I am looking at you on Discord.
Yep.
But yeah, aside from the main theme, which is First Light by Lana Del Rey, they also released a behind the scenes on the music. And
Oh,
they are going to use the classic themes, but they
Of course.
said that since this game is James Bond getting to become that suave agent, he will have to earn those themes. So they will pop up over the course of the game as you basically get the status to earn those themes. So that sounds interesting. I have a little bit of reservation for the soundtrack because the composers are The Flight, and The Flight I mentioned before in the podcast. Soundtracks by The Flight are pleasant sounding and fit the setting, but they instantly go out of my head as soon as I close the game.
Mm.
On the flip side, The Flight is a duo of British dudes who very much love James Bond. So this might be the right mix, the right franchise for them to work in. We'll
here's
see.
hoping.
And I just
Here's
wanna
hoping.
throw a quick shout out. This is not a game, but it's game related. Mortal Kombat 2, the movie, they released a single of Techno Syndrome 2026, which, if you don't know the name,
Nice.
Techno Syndrome is a very old song that's
Yeah, we all know this one.
It was-
Mortal Kombat.
yeah, the song actually has an interesting story itself. To be honest, I could go on for a bit just talk about the story of the original, but short version, it came out in a promo album first, and then got used as the theme for the first movie back in the 90s, and now they're bringing it back, and the song was by The Immortals, and this
Yeah.
2026 version is by one half of The Immortals, one of the two guys who made up the duo. So he redid his own song for the new movie, and hopefully that means the movie is gonna be fun, because I didn't hear anything about the previous Mortal Kombat movie. So if they can
Yeah.
go for at least fun, I'm happy.
So I had a friend who worked on that Mortal
And-
Kombat
and
movie,
given
and
that-
everything that I'm told about it is like, it's fine. It's not as mimetic as the OG one, and it's not as bad as the more recent one. It's fine.
That's a shame.
And given that apparently the Street Fighter movie that they're going for a pretty fun, tongue-in-cheek vibe as well, looks like this might be a fun year for fighting game movie adaptations.
We shall see.
Somehow.
It's kind of funny that fighting games, there used to be this rivalry between Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter back in the 90s, but
Yeah.
it got smoothed out over time because the FGC just gets into every fighting game. They don't choose which ones to play. They play everything to at least try it out. So that rivalry in the gaming space has kind of gone away, but now it's popping up in the movie space, which is funny. Because
It's like console wars. It's only brand warriors until
Yeah.
you actually get to play the other games and
yeah, pretty
find the
much.
fun in them.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, that was I guess music arcade news, since I didn't have no playing for myself.
Not an official segment yet.
Not an official segment.
We'll talk later And with that, that's all the time we have for this episode. Thank you all so much for tuning in. As always, you can find a playlist of the songs we talked about in the description below, as well as how to contact us. We are on Blue Sky. Come say hello. And till then, I need to go read a menu and maybe get some lunch. So I will see you guys next episode.
Prick, prick, prick. Save and quit.
See you next time.